So I just got done watching the Acolyte episode 6, I think. It was actually pretty good. Probably the best, probably the best one yet. So far, I don't think it's too bad of a show, but it's like, yeah, it's like, it's weirdly like controversial for some reason. I guess some people don't like it, but I thought episode 1 was a kind of an interesting setup. Episode 2 was like forgettable. Episode 3 was not kind of forgettable, but I think, yeah, 4, 5, and 6, which is this latest one, have all been pretty good. Yeah, it takes place. It takes place kind of in an interesting time period, like 100 years before episode 1, when most of the shows and movies and stuff have been somewhere during the Galactic Civil War period, or somewhere in between 6 and the sequel trilogy. But yeah, I've got a bunch of notes here. What have I written down? Yeah, interesting time period of the Star Wars universe. Yeah, the fight sequences are really good. I think the that very first fight sequence was really memorable. And spoilers for the show, but I like that they killed off oh, what's her name, Carrie Ann Moss, um like in the first episode, the first scene of the first episode, even though they had her in all the marketing and all that, because it showed yeah, it kind of gave the show a bit of an unpredictable feel, which I thought was pretty cool. But that opening fight sequence where like they don't pull out a lightsaber till the very last till the very end was a really cool something different, and I enjoyed that a lot. It was really well choreographed and all that kind of stuff. What else? What else? The Night Sisters, everyone's saying is like really weird or really stupid. But I remember reading about the Night Sisters. Are they called the Night Sisters? Those witches? I forget, but I remember reading about the like Night Sisters or witches or whatever in one of the novels. I think it was Young Jedi Knights or something, where they're like riding around on rancors and all that. Yeah, yeah. So they've been around in the Star Wars lore for like quite a while. But people were saying it's weird and doesn't like fit into the Star Wars universe now. But I don't know. I never thought they were. And I always thought yeah, I always thought they were a pretty big part of the Star Wars universe. But I don't know. Yeah. What else? Episode 5 was really good. When you have that crazy fight where they just, like, spoilers again, they just kind of kill everyone off. That I did not expect at all. That was surprisingly brutal. You had the girl from Logan. I thought she was going to be quite a big character, but she got stabbed like 3 times. And then you had the helmet, getting hit with the lightsaber and all that. That was pretty neat. Yeah. What else? Um, the episodes were a bit short, I thought. A few people have complained about this, but like, I mean, like, I felt like they could have been longer than like 30 minutes. Um, yeah, that could be like an hour. I mean, I'm not. I feel like most of these Star Wars shows shouldn't even be shows. I think most of them could be movies, like 2 to 3 hour movies. But you know, if you are gonna do a show, you might as well make the episodes like beefy and long, I guess. But um, what else? Some of the CGI is pretty disappointing. There was one particular scene on this latest episode where you had a ship flying kind of with the planet as the backdrop, and ooh, the CGI was pretty rough. Surprisingly for Star Wars, but That's only in some parts. Most of the CGI is pretty good. What else? There was definitely, there was some setups that never paid off, like introducing that Wookiee Jedi and setting them up as a big deal, and then kind of just just killing them off. That was kind of, what was the purpose of that? That was kind of random. But yeah, I'm not too sure. What else? Oh yeah, I thought it was kind of weird that the Jedi's were like cops and they had like handcuffs and they're like, "You're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent." You know, that was very. I never saw the Jedi's as cops. The Jedi's were always like these like very special kind of keepers of the peace. These like very special warriors that you send out for like diplomatic missions or whatever, or like, you know, where they war the herds and people kind of go, "Ooh, there's a Jedi," you know, and they're like these a very small group of elite yeah, like knights, warriors, whatever you want to call them. But in this, they're just like straight up cops. They just hunt people down and arrest them and put them in handcuffs. But I mean, I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. But most of the Jedi stuff I like, but I liked in the show. But I thought that felt kind of out of place. What else? Most of the acting is really good. Haley, what's her name? Who's the girl who plays the two leads? The Acolyte. Amanda Sternberg. Yeah, she's pretty good in it. She's pretty good in the show. Most of the I think most of the cast is pretty good. And the girl that was on Logan was Daphne Keane, I think. Yeah, that's her. But most of the cast is pretty good all around. Lee Jung Jae, I'm probably butchering that name. He was on Squid Game and everything. He learnt English for the role, I believe, because he was so excited to play a Jedi. So I thought that was really cool. But he does really good. In the latest episode, actually, he had to have a lot of like mixed emotions and he had to give quite an intense acting performance, and I thought he did really good. Very subtle, you know. Especially since he's not acting in his native language, that's even more impressive. What else? Yeah, most of the acting's really good. What was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, one issue I have with the Star Wars universe, and I've had it for quite some time now, pretty much ever since like The Force Awakens came out, is the Star Wars universe doesn't have the same lived-in feel to it anymore, and it doesn't feel like, I don't like the fact that they never revisit planets, like they never go back to outside of the Jedi Temple in this show. It's rare they go to Coruscant or like Naboo or like Hoth or one of the pre-established planets, and they keep inventing new planets all the time with one terrain. Like one thing I really like about the Star Wars prequels is that so like my favorite planet in all of Star Wars is actually Naboo, and the reason why is because they at least flesh it out quite a bit through the movies or in the prequels for all the problems those movies have. So like, for example, the reason why I like Naboo so much is because it's so fleshed out. You know, you have more than one terrain. You have the forest, the city, the plains, like the hills, and then you have the swamp and the underground city. It even has its own indigenous population, plus all the humans, and its own like its own kind of political structure. You know, kind of it's like a half monarchy, half democracy. I don't know how that would work, but um, democratic republic or whatever it is, and yeah. But like, I feel like one thing that's really cheapened the Star Wars universe for me is every show and every movie keeps introducing just random planets and not really fleshing them out, and they go to that planet and they go to another one, and then they have, and it's hard to keep up. So when they introduce a new planet, it's just like, oh, another one. It just feels cheap and endless, and it's always just one terrain as well. It never fleshes out like the worlds much, and yeah, there's just something really repetitive and boring about the Star Wars universe. I feel like, especially it's pretty much since Disney has pretty much ever since the Disney content has started coming out. Yeah, I still haven't watched Andor, but I've heard that's quite a gritty show. I really would love to check that out. I just don't get much time to watch TV shows, but overall, the Acolyte's pretty good. You know, I'm definitely I will finish it. I'm curious and probably do another review for the whole show because I am curious to know where it goes.